In Germany, 1922, the snow-covered farmstead of Hinterkaifeck. 6 people live their ordinary lives, unaware that their home has stopped being their fortress. A few days before the tragedy, old Andreas Gruber noticed something strange. In the fresh snow, footprints led from the edge of the forest right up to the doorstep, but there were no return tracks, none leading back toward the forest. Someone had entered the house and never left it. Soon, unexplainable things began happening in the house. Heavy footsteps were heard coming from the attic when no one was supposed to be there. A newspaper was found in the living room that no one in the family had subscribed to. And then, the keys to the front doors disappeared. The previous maid had fled the farm 6 months earlier, insisting that the house was haunted. A new helper arrived at the farm on March 31st. She didn't know it would be her first and last day. For several days after that, an eerie silence settled over the farm. The neighbors grew worried. No smoke rose from the chimney, no one collected the mail, not even the dog barked. When people finally decided to go inside, they discovered something that still terrifies historians to this day. The house was warm. The livestock in the barn had been fed and watered. Fresh food stood in the kitchen, and the stove had been recently lit. Someone had been living in that house for several days together with those who were no longer alive. The police questioned hundreds of people. Everyone was suspected, from neighbors to traveling robbers, but not a single lock had been broken, and not a single valuable item was missing. The killer didn't just come to take lives, he came to stay. He knew every corner of that house, every creak of the floorboards. He watched the family from the darkness of the attic, waiting for the perfect moment. The Hinterkaifeck farmstead was demolished a year later, but the mystery remained. The killer was never found. But the most terrifying part of this story isn't even what happened. It's the fact that no one ever figured out who did it. Over time, several theories appeared, and each one is disturbing in its own way. First theory, someone they knew. The police quickly noticed one important detail. The killer knew the house perfectly. He knew where everyone slept, who would go where, how to lure people out one by one. This didn't look like a random attack. It could have been someone who had been in the house before, knew the family's routine, and could move around without raising suspicion. Second theory, the man in the attic. This is the most disturbing version. The footprints in the snow led to the house, but there were no tracks going back, which means someone could have entered earlier, hidden inside, and stayed there for days. The attic would have been the perfect place. From there, someone could hear conversations, watch the family, study their behavior, and maybe while they were living their normal lives, someone was already right above them, waiting, watching, choosing the perfect moment. Third theory, a random killer. Some believe it was just a robber or a mentally unstable person, but this theory falls apart because nothing was stolen, there were no signs of forced entry, and the strangest part, the killer stayed in the house after the crime. He fed the animals, kept the fire going, ate their food. This is no longer just a crime. It feels like someone who believed that house was his.